Let me share with you 5 tips to raise children with multiple languages across cultures. Now, one of the main reasons or side effects, if you prefer, for parents to raise their children cross-culturally is for their children to be exposed to multiple cultures and also a variety of languages. So no matter if we understand one or more additional languages or dialects and even sign languages, or speak, sign, read, and maybe write them. And no matter if we acquired several languages from the very beginning or added them later on, when we use more than one language daily or on a regular basis, we are part of the more than half of the world's population that is bilingual or multilingual. And I refer here to a definition of a bilingual by Professor François Grosjean. The same applies to our children, because they are likely to attend school in another language or an international school where other languages are taught. So here are my 5 tips about raising children with multiple languages across cultures. It all starts with determining what language or languages are important for our children in the next 3, 5, or 10 years, and with making some kind of a plan. I like to quote Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, the author of The Little Prince, who said that a goal without a plan is just a wish. Now, what seems easy in the first years becomes increasingly challenging when languages in the family or society change, for example, due to a move, or when children start daycare or school in another language, or any other kind of change or transition happens. When children are schooled in an additional language, this becomes their most dominant one for very obvious reasons. Furthermore, they will tend to prefer speaking that language, which means that we need to make sure that they get enough exposure in the home language or languages if we want them to keep speaking, maybe even to read and write in those languages. Therefore, it is advisable to regularly adjust our plans to the changing circumstances and needs. Tip 2. Let's define our multilingual village, because we need a multilingual village to raise a multilingual child. And here I adapted an African saying to this context. What this means is that we need to find people, extended family, friends, peers that can support us in fostering our languages with our children. Ideally, people who will guarantee continuous support and stay in our village also if we move. For many of us, this means to find new multilingual villages in every new place, which doesn't make it much easier. But we can create consistency in the language use in our home, in our family, in our micro-society, by creating routines and needs to use the home language, by surrounding us with the home language and create a visibly clear linguistic landscape through resources like books, newspapers, magazines, audiobooks, games, reading with our children, not only babies and toddlers, but also school-aged children, even if they already read independently, has proven to be a very effective way to explore and foster new vocabulary and keep children motivated. Making the home language or languages more attractive and a need is crucial for success, especially when the society or the community we live in is not supporting our languages to the desired and needed extent. To do so, we can, and this is tip 4, follow the interest of our children to keep them motivated in speaking, maybe reading, and also writing our languages. Involving them actively in the language exploration is the best way to keep them engaged. And if they are a bit older, we can share with them about the market value of our languages at home. Because even the globally considered less prestigious languages can have a market value. Being the only one in the company who can converse with a Swiss-German colleague in Houston, for example, can be important for a deal. Like Nelson Mandela said, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, it goes to his heart. The 5th tip is to keep our expectations realistic. If our children are schooled in an additional language, chances are high that their literacy skills in the home languages will lag behind those of the peers in the country of origin, or monolinguals. That is perfectly normal, but whatever input we can provide in our languages will give our children a gift for life that they can explore further when they're older, if they want, and if they need. It is very reassuring to know that the skills that our children learned at school can be transferred to the home languages and vice versa. As tempting as it can be to shower our children with many different languages, it is important to keep it realistic and healthy for them. Where there is a need, there is a way. Although being consistent and flexible at the same time can be challenging, motivation is the key. So let's celebrate all our languages, dialects, sign languages, and enjoy the communication and the connection they allow us to have with our children, family, friends, colleagues across cultures.